So this is a little demonstration of how to edit footage using the Film Riot project. And I'm going to start right from scratch in the Organize window, and I'm going to get the media that we're going to use for this project. And it's under Files and Folders. And I've stored a clip in the Handouts folder for my students. You'll find it under Assets Video, under Clips, and you'll find it called Film Riot Unedited Footage.mp4. Anybody outside the classroom can also locate this on YouTube, and you could download it if you're clever, and they actually give you hints on the YouTube page on how you can acquire this footage so that you can try this for yourself. And this is like really basic editing, how you load in a clip and start splitting it up and moving it around. So it'll go over a few basic fundamental techniques. Now nothing's changed here because we're still in the Organize tab, and it shows me thumbnails of anything I've ever used. We now want to go to the Edit tab, the Edit mode of Premiere Elements. And in the Edit mode, we can see the clip we just imported. I'm going to double click it because we get a little preview window. And instead of just dragging this clip directly in and starting to cut it up, we're going to cut this into two subclips. Because the way they filmed this, they shot all the footage of one actor first. They went through the entire skit twice. Once focusing on one actor, and then around the midpoint, splitting over and focusing on the second actor. Now I'm going to find that split point and show you a little technique that you can do to start making subclips from your master clip. So the things you'll work with are these subclips. I'm going to find the exact moment, or the rough moment about here, where the thing splits. Now you can hit the play button in this preview window and find it as well. And if you go too far fast, you can use the arrow keys to go back and forth. And the shift arrow key, like notice as I hit the arrow key, it changes my time. 2 minutes, 57 seconds, and 9 frames, or 876 every time I tap it. If I want to go faster, shift arrow goes back 5 frames at a time. So I can find a very precise moment where it goes from one place to the other. Within 1 frame, there I am. Now I would like to take the first part and highlight it and turn it into a subclip, and here's how I do it. There is a purple band here, and when I hit the set out point right now, it takes wherever the current scrub point is, highlights only that first segment right there. So I can take this clip now and drag it into my project bin, and it'll make a copy of the clip and let me name it anything I want. The first actor's name is Josh, so I'm going to call this Josh. Okay. Now, I'm going to grab the bottom little handles here, and I'm going to extend them all the way to the end of the video again. And now, with that cursor still where it is, I can hit the set in point, and now it's highlighting the second half. This is the Tim stuff, so I'll grab that segment, drag it into the bin, and call it 01 Tim. I'm calling it 01 because it might be that this is the first chunk of the skit. I could break this up into lots of little sub-chunks and try to match them up, but I'm just going to do 2 main chunks. The whole skit is going to be in there in these 2 segments. It's the same skit twice, starting with Josh. So now I'm going to take that Josh footage and I'm going to scroll up here until I can see the video 2 and video 1 tracks, and I'm going to put Josh in video 2. He sort of starts the thing off. And I'll take Tim's track and I'll put him down in the video 1 track, and I won't line them up just yet. Because the next thing I have to do is I have to find the exact moment where this skit is really starting. And if you play this thing, I can hear it. You may not be able to. You'll see some things change up here. But it's really, really rough, and you'll have to trust me. I'm listening carefully for where these segments are. So if I go to the very beginning and tell you what, I'm going to zoom in on it with the zoom in bar. Starting at the first frame, I'll start playing it. I know it starts with a bit of a junk. I've seen this a few times over. It helps if you know what the script is. I've got this script. I've already transcribed the script. I've listened to it a few times. I know what's going to happen with this. And I know it's going to start with Josh saying the line, "Let's not make this awkward." Now there's going to be a little bit of an exchange. All this I'm going to have focused on Josh because I know that I don't have anything in the Tim footage until he says the words, "Yeah, well then." I just previewed this stuff and know this. So I'm going to try to get this whole exchange in a segment here. So if I keep playing this, I'll find that starting point. And they make some mistakes and gaffes. Okay, I'm going to stop here because I know this is where the clip really starts. Now I want to trim off this opening bit, hovering over the edge of the clip and dragging backwards till I get to that cut point. Takes everything, slides it on over, and now I'm going to use this button, go to previous edit point, and it quickly skips to the last edge of a clip. And if I play it, I know I've got pretty much the right footage here. He says, "Let's not make this awkward." And I'm going to stop it after he says, "Well then." Stop there. So this is the point where that first little segment is done, and I'm happy with this part. Now I would like to cut to the Tim cam and show him saying, "Yeah, well then," and have that exchange. To slice this right here at this point, there's a tool here called Split Clip. Clicking it once, it'll cut anything that you've highlighted at the moment where you've put the scrub playhead. And now I can just take this remainder, and I'm going to use it later on. I'm just going to move it out of the way for now. Be careful, by the way, if you grab that yellow line, you're actually changing the opacity of this instead of moving things. And it does get a little confusing. I'll zoom back out, find the Tim footage, and now I'd like to get his reaction. Yeah, well then, from the Tim cam. Now notice when you zoom in and out, it always zooms in and out around that scrub point, so it makes it really easy to do this. So I'm going to see if I can find the moment where he says, yeah, well then. Now again, you may not see it or hear it really well, but I'm listening carefully for it. Okay, did it. I'll stop it there, and I'd like to split it there too, because I know the next line is going to be Josh's, and I want to be back on the Tim cam. Oh, sorry, on the Josh cam. Drag that on over. I'm going to zoom back, slide Josh's footage into place, and now I'm going to try to find his next line. And his next line is, listen, if you just lock the door when you take a shower, it would be no issue. Okay, let's see if I can find that. Okay, so he's saying listen right now. So I'll trim this back. Notice when I trim it, it automatically slides everything back into place, so we still have sort of a seamless cut here. So now we've gone from Josh to Tim's response, back to Josh. Now if you try playing this, you can see how well it flows. I'll hit the play button. He says, yeah, well then. And now he resumes the dialogue, listen. So far so good. If this is too crude for you, here's another little trick. You can see exactly what it's going to look like. Right now it's giving us the best frame rate that it can, but it's trying to do a lot of stuff. If you want to pre-render this, you can look for this little, what looks like a ruler in there above the red line, and double click it, and it will adjust the workspace for you, so it just shows you what's on screen right now. And I can adjust that and fine tune it even more by grabbing the edges of it. It's hard to see it, but there's little control handles, and I can highlight just that segment. And if I want to pre-render that, I hit the enter key. It will go ahead and it'll start cooking all those frames, doing a pre-render, so it'll play that virtually at 30 frames per second as fast as you'd want it to. And you'll notice as it does this, it also starts turning this little strip green to show you what it's pre-rendered. Now this is a temporary thing, but it'll show you how things will flow. My suggestion is don't be too fussy at the beginning. Do a rough cut, because we can adjust these clips later on to make them work a little bit better. But there's the pre-render, and now if I play it, you get a true depiction of what's going on. Now I notice when he says, yeah, well then, he's going a little bit too long. So I could trim this part up too to make it a little tighter. Everything else slides into place. Now it still says that it's pre-rendered. And again, I might want to even tighten it up a little bit more just to the moment where he does this, so you can start fine-tuning it. So this is the introduction on how you start to crudely put together the segments that you want in the order that you want it. And if I were to pursue this, I'd find that next line that he has, find the right point to split it, cut it, move it, and move this clip on back to find the right response here with Tim. And I scrub it ahead, find it, trim it. Same thing again, find the next cut point. And I'll call this juggling, that you're just basically juggling these clips back and forth, taking two separate takes and turning them into one continuous ping-ponging flow of dialogue and video. Good luck, give it a try for yourself, and we'll get into the fine-tuning in L cuts and J cuts in the next segment.